Hey everybody, and welcome. I'm Mike, and this is Mike's After Action Reviews. And with me today I have...
Ellie.
And together we're doing the After Action Review for Christmas Chronicles 2. Okay guys, I just want to start off by saying that this is going to be a non-spoiler review for the movie. We will have a separate video which will have spoilers, and I'm going to put a card up here. You'll be able to see a link right up there, so definitely click that link after you've watched this if you want to see spoilers. Otherwise, just stick with this video. So we break this down into categories. We're going to start with the plot, which is a non-spoiler summary of the movie, the characters, acting, and then we will move on to like a miscellaneous section where we'll cover things that didn't fall into those other categories, and then also moving into the final review score, which will go into our parameters for that when we get there. So basically the summary of the movie, and well actually, and I'll give I should give like a little summary of the last movie. Okay.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
So this is a second one now. The first one came out when I wasn't doing YouTube reviews. So just for a summary of the first movie, two teenagers. Actually, there's like a little girl who's preteen and her like teenage brother get left alone on Christmas and decide that they're gonna try to capture Santa Claus, like a video of Santa Claus. Through them doing that, Santa Claus is unable or inhibited in being able to go deliver presents, and so they have to do a bunch of stuff to basically repair Santa's sleigh and save Christmas. Those two characters come back. In the first movie, a big part of the plot point was that the younger girl, Kate, was recording with a camcorder the whole time because she wanted to be able to show people that she discovered Santa. Okay, so in the beginning of this movie, now we're moving into this movie, Christmas Chronicles 2. So in the second one, the plot begins with you kind of get that it's a bad guy, and I'll tell you, you find out immediately. So it's Belschnickel, okay? It's right in the title of the movie. When the movie starts, it says the story of Belschnickel, and then you see Belschnickel, okay? Which is the guy from Deadpool. So he has that videotape from the first movie and sees those two kids on it, and also sees that they've recorded Santa. Now, he's an evil, bad elf, and basically the plot of the movie is that he kidnaps the younger girl and brings her to the North Pole in order to enact a plan to get Santa Claus and once and for all destroy Santa and stop him from being able to be Santa. That's basically the plot. And again, this time the characters are not in their own home, they're in the North Pole, and it is not Teddy, who is the older brother, it's just Kate. So it's not Teddy and Kate, it's just Kate this time, and another boy, and we'll talk about that as we get into characters and stuff, but basically they are fighting Belschnickel right alongside of Santa.
And Mrs. Claus.
And Mrs. Claus, and trying to...
Save Christmas.
Save Christmas.
Again.
There you go. Okay, so that's the second movie, that's basically the non-spoiler plot summary, and all of that you basically get from promotional material or immediately when starting to watch the movie. So, Okay, so our first category that we go into is characters. So, what do you think of the characters in the movie? We're going to be referring to our notes because we took notes. So, what do you think of the characters?
Well, the first character that we see is Belschnickel.
Okay.
And, it was surprising. I wasn't very familiar with this character, except
from The Office.
The Office, Dwight Schrute. And I was actually surprised that Belschnickel this time was much younger. Okay. And a little different than what I imagined. I actually don't know his real story.
So I'll tell you, I looked this up prior to this. I kind of looked it up before because we both watched The Office, and when I watched The Office, I've watched it so many times, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to check this out. Basically, what Belschnickel is one of Santa's helpers. He's not an evil guy. Oh. He's not an evil guy. A lot of people compare him to Krampus. Krampus is actually evil and scary and murders children. Okay, Belschnickel is one of Santa's helpers who is not evil, but he is not a nice person. And what he does is he goes to like about 2 weeks before Christmas. By the way, this all started, it's like a German folklore, and I think that it had to do with like cautionary tales type of thing to basically like scare kids into being good. He comes up 2 or 3 weeks before Christmas, and he brings candies and a switch. He actually brings like candies and cakes and a switch. A switch meaning like something to hit kids with, okay? And he'll go to people's homes and ask them kids' homes, and he'll ask the kids questions, and he'll have them sing. And if they can't answer his questions, or if they've been naughty and they're not able to sing very nice, he beats them. And if they're nice, he will give them candy. And the whole idea of Belschnickel was to remind kids that there's still a chance for them to be naughty and Santa to not give them gifts. And that's Belschnickel. But he's always seen as being like an old, always clothed in animal furs, and kind of like an older gentleman, almost like Santa. He almost looks like Santa Claus in most of this.
So he's not an elf?
He is, because Santa Claus is actually according to the folklore, is actually supposed to be an elf. Like he's like not a normal human person. He's like an elf. In normal folklore, he's considered an elf. Not in these movies. In these movies, he's a human. But
because in real life, he was a...
In normal folklore, he's not like an elf, like a mystic. He's just not a normal human, so they call him an elf, okay? Yeah. So Belschnickel is basically almost the same thing as Santa Claus. He's one of Santa's helpers. He whips you if you're bad to remind you, hey, be good, Christmas is coming, okay?
Okay. Well, I mean, I really like this character, just because there was something new that I learned. I like his story.
And he's played by, one second, I have it pulled up here on my phone, so you're going to see me. He's played by Julian Dennison, who is the guy, that kid from the second Deadpool movie. We'll talk about the acting and stuff in a minute, but go through the characters first. So you liked Belschnickel?
Yeah, I really like his background story, how they show him how he was so much attached with Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus, and he was this smart and little genius elf, and
basically got jealous.
Yeah, he didn't receive as much attention as soon as he became a teenager, and so he started to become naughty. And
so then basically from there, not spoilers, some stuff happens. He ends up leaving Santa Claus. He doesn't leave the North Pole. There's a magical barrier between Santa Claus's village and the rest of the North Pole, the actual geographical location. So Santa Claus's village is magically protected, but Belschnickel gets kicked out of there, and that's where kind of he becomes evil, and the plot starts to move forward. So any other characters? Like, we're going to kind of go through all of the character list. So next character?
Well, Kate.
Okay.
And I really liked her. Actually, I think that they did a great job at depicting her as a typical teenager. You know, she wanted to spend Christmas at home baking cookies with her mom, but at the same time, she was looking at her friends' pictures on Instagram, and she wanted to be with her friends as well. So, you know, and then she was also embarrassed watching her mom dancing and kissing with her new boyfriend, and she was kind of being a little bit rebellious, you know, like just a normal teenager. And I really like her, and I think she actually was a great leading character for this movie. Yeah. Like she was, I mean, in the first one. I mean, I like her in the first one, but here you can actually see her taking the lead. Yeah. And so I really like that. Actually, one thing I want to say, so I'm going to talk about Kate too, and I have some things to say about Kate, but just one last thing I want to say about Belschnickel's character. Belschnickel's character, I was surprised that he was here, because we didn't see actually anything about the plot of this movie before watching it together, but immediately it was like, oh, Belschnickel, like it's like a storybook. And so the storybook opens and it says like the story of Belschnickel or something about Belschnickel or something. Mm-hmm. And that like surprised me, but it was a good place for the second movie to progress to. If it had been just another set of kids and the Kurt Russell Santa doing the same thing from the first movie, that would have sucked. If it would have been the same kids doing the same thing, that would have sucked. But Belschnickel coming in with something nice, they grabbed a piece of lore and did something with it like that. Okay, so sorry. Now moving on to Kate. I like Kate in this one. I think that basically same character from other one, just 2 years older. Another thing about the plot that you have to understand is that, and this kind of goes along with going about the characters. So we have Kate's mom from the first movie. Kate and Teddy are the siblings here. Kate's dad and mom. Dad is dead.
was a firefighter. He died in the first movie, before the first movie started. Kate's mom in this movie has now started dating a new guy whose name is Bob, and he's the actor, what's his name? Tyrese Gibson from the Fast and Furious movies. And now, Bob, great guy. I thought it was odd that he was. It almost felt like a role that like The Rock would play, like Dwayne Johnson would play. But this is like not even in a bad way, because Tyrese does a fine job. But Tyrese Gibson in this movie is a discount Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Okay, but actually he does a great job. The actor does fine. So she's dating Bob. Okay, and Kate's mom's name is... What is Kate's mom's name? Kimberly Williams is the actress name. Claire Pierce, Kate's mom. So she's dating this Bob guy, played by Tyrese Gibson. And Tyrese Gibson's character, Bob, has taken them all on a vacation to Hawaii. And Kate and Teddy...
Mexico.
So, Cancun, Mexico. And she doesn't like that. Kate and Teddy don't like that because they like the snow. They like Christmassy... evergreen trees, Christmas, and so that's kind of a plot point of contention. And so, but no, I think that Kate's character does really well. Played by Darby Camp. Basically, as far as kid actors, I mean, Darby Camp now is basically a teenager, but I think that even in the first one, the character the character was very well done. So I did like that,
and her acting was very convincing. Actually, Mrs.
Claus. What do you think of Mrs. Claus?
Well, I was going to say that Bob... Actually, I like Bob a lot. I actually even like... the actor, he's one of my favorite. I like the fact that he didn't want to impose himself as the new dad or like the stepdad. He was just a cool dude. He was just trying to be part of the family. He was just trying to please all the kids, and to just like feel them this Christmas period, even if they were not in Massachusetts, with the snow and
all that.
And all that. So
I would say that usually in movies like this, when you have a mom and her kids and then a boyfriend, very quickly they establish, like, is the boyfriend the good guy or is the boyfriend a bad guy? And immediately you get that, like, oh no, Bob is cool. Bob is a nice guy. You see him dancing, he's smiling, he's brought them to Cancun, Mexico on this nice vacation. He bought the kids tickets to go see some cool stuff for Christmas, which is kind of a point of contention, not really a plot spoiler, but basically for Christmas they're supposed to spend it apart. So mom and Bob gonna go do something, kids are all gonna go do another thing, but Bob is really awesome. He bought these awesome tickets to go to this great place. It doesn't really say what it is, but it's like the fun club for kids or something.
Yeah, they have a lot of activities.
Yeah, so he's not a jerk guy though. He's not a jerk guy, and that's established very quickly.
No, Mrs. Claus, actually.
Yeah, I want to talk about Mrs. Claus. Yeah.
No, I really liked her. At first I don't know what I don't know what I expected. I was just surprised. Like, I don't know. At first it was like weird, but then the more that I saw her, the more I liked her. She was this thoughtful, nice, caring friend. Almost like a mother figure, And her chemistry with Kurt Russell was amazing. They were the great couple. They are a great couple.
At the end of the first movie, you see Mrs. Claus walking up, and they don't tell you who it is. Like, you don't see her face. You just see her from behind walking up with a hood on. And Kurt Russell is sitting there and he's talking, and you hear Mrs. Claus say something, and then she turns around and undoes the thing, and it's Goldie Hawn. We're not really getting in the acting, but okay, so Mrs. Claus played by Goldie Hawn. If you don't know, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn were married. They got a divorce from their partners and then have been together forever. But they themselves have not been married together, but they've been together forever. And so I haven't seen Goldie Hawn in anything in a long time. She was a really big actress when I was younger. And then seeing her in this, she's still a good actress. It's not like she's wavered in any way in that, but it's just nice. It was just
she was natural.
Yeah.
She was like almost so natural.
And it was just nice to see her, that's Goldie Hawn from when I was younger, and she's still got it. Like, she's still got the swing of it, So
that was really because her husband was there.
Yeah.
Which was Santa Claus. He rocks.
And Kurt Russell is Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
Yeah. A big thing that I liked, and that I know that you had told me you liked about the first one, is that Santa Claus in this is not a big fat guy, and the movie tells you that. Kurt Russell as Santa Claus, the character Santa Claus says, like, oh, what did you expect, some big fat guy? And I don't go, ho, ho, ho. That's what he says in the first one. That's not mentioned again here, but I did like that. And you do see They do a really good job.
I mean, he's original. Like, he's a normal man, you know, and he's unique. I mean, they create this unique guy because he's not a typical Santa Claus, you know. He likes to dance, he likes to sing, he likes to even dress up, being like kind of like a rock star a little. I think that they did a great job at creating a character that appeals to both adults and kids, you know.
Yeah.
He's I mean, he's the traditional Santa Claus in a way, but at the same time, he's like more like the modern version. And I mean, he just rocks. I mean, I love him.
And one thing too is that there's definitely some conflict in here, especially later with Belschnickel and all this. And even in Kurt Russell and the character here are done so well because the character, you see him very convincingly be in conflict with Belschnickel, but also not angry. Like, he's still the jolly Santa Claus. Like, he's still like, hey man, I'm Santa, but this is enough. He's not like mean. He doesn't get angry. The character is done really well. I think that they really captured Santa Claus pretty well here. So then there's some minor characters. I'm just going to go through them.
Well, you forgot Jack.
Okay, well, yeah, no, I was going to say Jack, and then
but Jack is a big part.
So Jack is Bob's son.
From a previous marriage.
And I'm looking up the actor, and he's not on the named IMDb page. I'll find out the name of the actor as we go here, I think.
I'm doing.
But so yeah, Jack is like your typical kid. No, Jack is like your typical kid put into some extraordinary circumstances that in which he rises to the occasion. He's played by Jazir Bruno. So, oh, look at that's Goldie Hawn when she was young. Wow. If you haven't seen, go to the IMDb page for Christmas Chronicles 2 and look at Goldie Hawn on the IMDb page, and you see a young picture of her, and she just looks amazing. And it's interesting to see her in this and then see her when she was young, and you just go, wow, you know. Anyway, so Jack is like your typical kid who's thrown into some extraordinary circumstances and really rises to the occasion. I liked his character. It's good. He's almost like a comedy relief, but there's really not a comedy relief character in this, but he's just like a lighthearted. I think everybody else is taking this a little bit more seriously than Jack is because I think he's younger. He's younger than Kate. I mean, I liked his character. He did add to the thing. He's probably the least like special character, I guess. But I mean, he is good. It's not that he's like bad.
I don't know.
Of the good guys, I mean.
kind of like disagree, I think, because
okay.
He actually at first I was afraid that he was gonna be annoying because he was this typical kid that knows everything and criticize everyone, and he has always something to say about everything, you know. And I was kind of afraid that would be a little bit annoying, but instead he turned out to be very smart and witty and funny, and I mean he overcame his fears, and I mean he was a big character, and he
so to be very clear, what I mean is if you look at the other characters who actually have screen time in this, basically it's Santa Claus, Kate, Mrs. Claus, and Jack. And at the end of that, I would say Jack. I would say all the other characters are better. That's what I mean. All of the characters here are actually strong. This is not like one of those Lifetime movies or Teen Nick. This is a little bit of a more AAA release title. This is a higher production title. This feels like the acting and character quality from like the Santa Claus, the movie, the Santa Claus with Tim Allen. Like this, all of the characters here are very, very well done. I'm just going to go through the minor characters very quickly. So Teddy, who was Kate's older brother and was basically Kate and Teddy were the two main protagonists in the first movie. He's here, but he gets left behind in Cancun while Kate gets kidnapped and taken to the North Pole. Speck is a named character. He's an elf, and he's Belschnickel's like little elf minion guy. But you don't ever see him much. He's just in like one scene. And then there's one other character, Yola. Is a named character, the Yule Cat. So in the promotional material for this, you probably saw Santa Claus riding his sleigh, chasing after a giant, like a saber-toothed tiger cat. Its name is Yola, and I'm not going to get into any spoilers or anything, but Yola is a minor character here. They used him in the promotional material, and then you don't see much of him in the movie.
No.
So, I mean, just another minor character. Okay, so, and then of course the elves. All the elves are pretty good basically what you would expect from things that are like the elves, the Oompa Loompas.
I love the elves. They
like
are
the
my
elves,
favorite.
the Oompa Loompas, any other, like the dwarves in movies where they have a lot of dwarves and stuff like that. All of those background characters that are like funny, and there's a lot of them around, and they all have little quirky things. But so they do pretty good with the elves in this. I did like that. Again, like the Santa Claus movies where there's the Santa Claus and then the Mrs. Claus and then I forget the Escape Claus or something. But all the Santa Claus movies are Tim Allen. They have elves and they all are little quirky guys. So yeah, I think that they did a good enough job, just like that movie.
To say something about the acting,
okay,
before passing, I mean, the acting, I thought that it was great.
Mm-hmm.
I love all the characters, and even the kids, actually, I was very surprised.
Mm-hmm.
They were very good actors. The only weak character, I mean, I would say Belschnickel.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that goes back to kind of the character. That's what... Sorry, go. I want you to finish.
I mean,
that.
I don't know what I was expecting differently. I thought that at some point, like in some parts, especially in the beginning, he was a little bit unconvincing.
Unconvincing as a bad guy, yeah.
Yes, I mean, maybe because he was struggling even in his heart, because he wanted to be a bad guy, but at the same time he still loved Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus.
Well, his jealousy, like his love and jealousy for them is what caused him to be evil. So.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, he was very determined to ruin Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
not just for the North Pole, but for the entire world. He just wanted a Christmas without Santa forever. So I was expecting something more...
Yeah. So again, this kind of comes back to more of a character thing instead of just the acting. I think the kid's acting was fine. What was his name? Julian Dennison. I think he was fine, but I think that he was almost miscast. I think that they messed up a little bit with the way that they have this set. So Belschnickel is an elf, but in the folklore, Belschnickel is also like an elf, but he is an elf like Santa Claus. So he's an old man. He is kind of like a grouch guy. He's got a beard. So when you see him, and Julian Dennison, I mean, he's the kid from Deadpool. So Deadpool 2. So you see him and you're just kind of like, oh, I was kind of expecting, like, I think that he does fine. No exceptional performance or anything like that. Like, this kid is not going to get an Oscar for this, but he does great. But the character could have been done differently, I think. And that's not on him. I don't blame the actor.
I mean, the problem is that the story was on the fact that when he became a teenager, he became jealous.
Yeah.
So you can't do that with an old man.
No, I know that. No, I know, but that's why I'm saying the character
they should have just made
been
him
done
more
differently.
Maybe like more evil. That's what you mean?
Yeah, like I'm saying, yeah, the characters just should have been done differently, I think.
Okay.
Like instead of having it be an elf that grew up being raised by Santa and became a jealous elf, he should have been somebody else. Like he should have been an older guy that maybe was Santa's partner or something, and it had been a different actor completely. They could have done the whole thing differently and made it a little bit easier. I will tell you though.
I disagree.
I will. Well, okay. I mean, no. That's fine. That's fine. We can disagree. I will say though that because of what we're talking about now, you kind of know where it's going. You know what's going to happen with his character specifically, and with But other than that, I think that actually there's not much to say about the acting. I mean, Kurt Russell does great. The kid actors, even the kid actors, are really good. I mean, they're as good as you would ever expect from a kid actor, and the acting is solid. I just want to say they do have Malcolm McDowell is in this as a voice actor for one of the elves, and I just want to mention him because this guy was in some other stuff that is very... You would not imagine him to be in a Christmas
I actually
movie.
Don't know the actor, and I
apologize. He was in the movie.
I mean, I think I saw him, but I'm not.
Yeah, so if you don't know, he was in the movie Caligula.
Oh no.
Yeah, so which is a little bit more mature, much more mature themed. What's that?
It's actually a shame.
Yeah, and so it's just interesting. It's just interesting to see him play the part. That's all I'm saying. I love every time that he's in stuff because he's in some random stuff a lot. So that was kind of the overall plot, the acting, the characters. Okay, so miscellaneous. So what do you have down for miscellaneous? Just anything else that you want to talk about other than what we've talked about so far?
So we said that the movie was great.
Definitely, good to see, but
one minor things that kind of like bother me.
Okay.
It was that so Belschnickel had this this great plan to ruin Christmas.
Okay.
And part of his plan was to sneak into Santa's sleigh.
Yeah. So underneath, you have the sleigh and then the sleigh runners, which is what actually almost like on skates. And Belschnickel's whole plan relied on him being able to jump up and grab onto those on the bottom of the sleigh and hold on, so that way Santa Claus would go into Santa Claus's village, and that's how he would get
the sleigh.
with the sleigh. That's how he would get on.
And it was just a little weird that Santa didn't feel
Yeah.
someone like Belschnickel jumped.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it because she's modest here. The actor and Belschnickel himself is not a very fit person. If I were Belschnickel, now this is Mike's After Action Reviews. I give it to you honest, okay? If I were Belschnickel, and I'm not like an Olympic athlete, but I work out a little bit. If I were Belschnickel, I would definitely feel comfortable going, all right, I got the cardio. I can run up there and grab that sleigh. Belschnickel probably should have had a plan B or something a little bit easier for him.
Even because, it was...
Like, the whole plan hinged on this one moment.
he kidnapped a girl, and he was very lucky to just, jump from this big rock and then jump as the sleigh, started.
Exactly.
So he just... and then,
the plan could have been better done. It
was a little bit weak.
So it did work out for him in the end, but it had a high likelihood of not working out.
It's one of those things that you kind of close your eyes because the movie has
to go. Movieism. So it's a movieism.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you're like, it wouldn't have worked out that way, but because the movie had to do it, we accept it. So
also, just always minor, didn't affect the movie at all. But when Belschnickel's kidnapped Kate, he's driving the shuttle. So he's driving, and then
It's similar to like a golf cart.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find a clip in the promotional material. I'm going to be limited on the clips that I can get for this video because of copyright and stuff.
So he suddenly turns the golf cart,
yeah.
And Kate and Jack jump so high,
they fly away into this, and there's like a portal that he's opened, and they fly away into the portal, and it teleports from the North Pole. Before he made that turn, he was probably going about 3 miles an hour.
It was so slow. It was just funny. It was a very minor thing, but I just thought that it was very funny. Another thing that could have done better is just that when they asked Belschnickel, why you don't like humans? What is so bad to be a human? He said, humans suck.
Yeah, that could have been done a little bit better.
And I was like, well, give me an explanation. Maybe you can say that humans are selfish. They are too predictable. They don't use magic or whatever. You can't just say, I don't like something because they suck, because it sucks.
Right.
He could have just said something more credible, just to understand where his hate came from.
Yeah,
if there was some kind of humans that hurt him or something. So I just thought that they could have wrote that part a little bit better. But it was always a minor thing. Because overall the movie was great. Yeah. So it's hard to find things that were not good or
I think overall, while the movie doesn't really have a weakness, I would say, because this is a Christmas movie. It's, you go to watch Avengers Endgame or Avengers Infinity War, which I think was better than Avengers Endgame. But you watch Avengers Infinity War, even if there is going to be, Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, even if there is going to be a happy ending, the bad guy is going to win out, you go in knowing that you're going to have an emotional swing. There's going to be we're really sad and this is very serious. This is a Christmas movie. Going in that you're not going to get those type of moments in full effect. So the fact that the villain was weaker is not really a detriment to the movie, mm-hmm. but it is true though that the villain is a weaker element of the film.
Even because it was a kids movie, so I think
it's more designed for kids. So, anything else miscellaneous?
I have all the things that I like.
What did you like?
Well, my favorite part. Now I was waiting for you if you had anything
that I didn't like.
Yeah.
Let me see. No, there wasn't really anything that I had a problem with. Actually, there wasn't really a thing that I specifically would say like, oh, that really bothered me, but I do appreciate the things that I agree with you on the things that you said bothered you. So what are some of the things that you liked, though?
Well, I mean, my favorite thing was the musical number that Santa Claus had.
There's only one. I just want to say real quick. There's only one musical number. There's one in the first one and one in the second one. So there's one for each of these movies, which I appreciate. I'm not big into musical stuff, especially in movies where it's a little bit more serious tone. Like, this is not a serious movie, but it's also not like a cartoon. Okay. So there's one musical number each. The first one was in a jailhouse, and Santa had the jailhouse people. He reaches under his coat and he pulls out a guitar and gives it to one guy and gives a trumpet to another guy. And you see Santa, he knows all these people, so he says like, "Hey Johnny, didn't you used to play guitar?" And he gives the guy a guitar and he says, "Play for me now." And he pulls out a trumpet and gives it to this guy, and then he has the ladies of the night sing background for him while he sings, and he's, yeah, Christmas time, yeah, baby, and they have the guitars, and so they do really good. And then in the airport, I would say that it wasn't as good as the first one, but it was good. I did enjoy that.
I mean, it's Santa's personality. I mean, has an enthralling and charismatic personality. No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, just seeing him dancing and singing and moving and do some rock and roll, I mean, even if you don't celebrate Christmas, you would just start and appreciate. I think it was really cool. I mean, I like Santa's Village, which was also his workshop, which is like something new, because actually they usually in the movies his workshop is just in a building, and you're like, how can he make so many toys in a small building, for the whole world? Instead, this time they had the whole village. And I mean, they even show some of the workshops.
So the whole village is, every building in the village is either an elf's home, like, or otherwise it's basically a building where they design or make a certain thing.
Yeah, I mean, they show the video game workshop, which I thought it was very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the Legos.
And the Lego workshop,
and
the candy canes, not cotton candy cane workshop that they had. Okay.
I mean, I really liked the fact that they inserted the real story of Santa Claus.
Yeah. Actually, okay, so I want to take this one. I want to take
Sure.
this. Okay. So I'm going to say that, but another thing I just want to say very quickly before I forget: time travel. I think this is the best time travel in a movie since, forever. Every time that movies go into time, as soon as I saw a time travel, I was like, oh my lord, what are they going to do here? Nope, they did it really good. It was really good. They basically got time traveled to a place because of a device that Belsnickel uses. This is not a plot. This is not a spoiler, it's not, because I'm not going to tell you anything, basically, but they get time traveled to a place. Santa Claus and Kate are there in that place, and they need to get out of there. Santa Claus does what he needs to do to get some magic to make it work, and then he time travels himself back, and they basically do the thing like you see in every time travel movie. They time travel back 15 seconds before they got teleported away, and then come back in and stop the bad thing from happening that happened. So I think that they actually did a really good job at keeping that minimal. So that was nice. I got to give them props to that. I think that like even big budget epic movies like Avengers Endgame messed that up. They messed up with time travel. This little insignificant, in some people's minds anyway, Christmas movie does time travel better than Avengers Endgame. I'm just going to tell you that right now, okay? And the fact that so here's the thing. I mean, I'm not trying to get up on a soapbox here for a minute, but Hanukkah is a Jewish holiday. A movie about Hanukkah is going to have Jewish tradition and stuff, okay? Kwanzaa is an African holiday. A movie about Kwanzaa is going to have African traditions and stuff. Okay, this is the first Christmas movie that I have seen in almost, I think, my entire life that is not a Christian movie. This movie is in no way Christian. It gives a slight nod and tells you the story of Santa Claus, the original story of Santa Claus. He was a man from Turkey, okay, who gave gifts to children in their shoes. He was then given all of this special stuff, and actually, so he was just a normal guy, and then because of his spirit of giving, was given power by the elves to become what we know as Santa Claus today, and magic and stuff, okay? It also gives a nod to Christianity and Christian culture, mentioning specific things about Christianity, but again, this is not a Christian movie, but I really, really love that about this movie, because When we talk about Christmas, Christmas is a Christian holiday. Everything about Christmas, including Santa Claus, because he was a Christian monk. Christ being the birth of Christ, what Christmas is a Christian thing, okay? I really appreciate the fact that without getting religious, this movie nods at where the holiday actually came from and the actual traditions that caused it. I did like that. I mean, full disclosure, I am a Christian, but even if you're not a Christian, I think that that's something that we should appreciate, at least the ideals that come along with Christmas and the culture and traditions that come along with it as well. So I did like that. I think a lot of movies mess that up by not at least nodding at that. This one did. I love that. I liked the elves. We already kind of talked about the elves were great. Mrs. Claus makes like this magic food that looks like cake and ice cream and all this stuff, but she says it's recipes that make everything taste like cake, but it's actually, and ice creams and things, but it's actually just like broccoli. No sugar, nothing like that.
Healthy food.
It'll be like broccoli and carrots, but it's a cake. And it tastes like cake, okay? Something that surprised me is when there's a scene where Mrs. Claus gives Jack some cookies.
Oh, yeah.
And they're magic cookies that do some magic stuff. And she tells him what they do, and he looks like, so he's sitting there, okay, you're Mrs. Claus, give me the cookies. This is what Jack does. He goes, he says, what about this? And then she tells him what they do, and he goes, and looks right at the camera like this.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. But she says, like, I'm really good. He says, like, I might get hurt doing this. And she says, oh, don't worry, I'm good at reattaching fingers or something. And then he looks at the camera. It's really good. Breaks the fourth wall. So I liked that. And then the magic cookies, I said. So the musical number was good, but like I said, not as good as the first one. That's in the airport. I thought that was funny. So everything about Belschnickel is like a twisted version of Santa Claus. So Santa Claus has a wooden sleigh with reindeer. Belschnickel has a sleigh that looks like a train, like a mechanical thing that he kind of built. And then instead of having reindeer, he calls them something. But basically what they are is jackals, a hybrid between a coyote and a jackal that can fly. So that he magically made somehow. I don't know exactly how that worked, but it was really funny looking. So if you see it, if I can, I'll put up a clip or see something so you can see. If I can't, I'm sorry, it's because of copyright. One thing that I want to praise the movie for is that you didn't need to see the first. That's good. You kind of pick up really quick. You kind of get the whole idea.
I mean, they do a good job at kind of summarizing the important things, like the fact that Kate was a true believer. About the dead, like the family situation,
the passed away and all that. Yeah.
So I mean, even if you didn't see the first one, I think, I mean, it would have been better to see the first one just so you understand the connection. Yeah. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, and they're both on Netflix, and they're both good movies. So definitely go see both of them. But you don't necessarily need to see the second one. So I just want to say that. Okay, so we're gonna move into our final review scores. So here at Mike's After Action Reviews, I don't use numbers. I use a five-fingered review system is what I call it. But basically, no numbers. I give everything ranges. So you have bad, I say video games too, but bad movies for this instance, below average, average, above average, and excellent. So what would you rate this movie on that scale?
I would say above average.
I would say above average.
Really like
I would say
movie.
above average as well. Go on.
I mean, I really like the first one. Like, I really like the first one. Especially because lately Christmas movies haven't been that great. Maybe because I'm old. I don't know. Like, I've grew up with like more like old, Christmas movie, more traditional ones, and I wasn't very satisfied lately with the new ones, and so I was very surprised. And I mean, Santa Claus is just amazing. Yeah. So, and I was afraid, because sometimes the sequel is kind of like, not as good, or like they don't. But I mean, actually exceed my expectation, and I mean, I really liked it.
You can use your hands, just don't slap the desk.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the characters and everything. I think
Santa Claus being cool is kind of
I think. I mean, if you have a good Santa, I mean, the movie is gonna be good. I think.
No, so I would say that this movie's above average. So I would rate the first movie above average as well. Neither of these are like epic, excellent movies that you have to go see and you're gonna cry in the theater or it's gonna win an Oscar. But these are definitely high above average movies. I would rate the first one as better. I think the first one was better, slightly. Definitely like a must-see. Like if I name movies that have come out recently that I want to see during Christmas, I say Klaus.
Oh,
The
yeah,
animated movie
that
Klaus,
was excellent.
and then the Christmas Chronicles. I don't know any other movies that I look at and go like, you have to see this. All the way back to the Santa Claus movies with Tim Allen. I mean, I basically, like, between the Santa Claus movies and Klaus, there's not a movie that I specifically remember that I would say, like, oh, you need to go see that movie. So definitely above average. So, yeah, that's our movie review our after action review anyway, for Christmas Chronicles 2. Thank you guys all for coming. So if you liked this video, give me a thumbs up, leave me some feedback in the comment section below. You can follow me on Facebook. I have an Instagram as well. I have a Twitch for streaming gameplay, but obviously if you're watching movie reviews, you may not be that interested in that, but definitely follow me on Facebook, like, subscribe, comment and share my videos. I appreciate it, guys. I just want to say thank you all for watching. God bless you all and have a good night.